What if I told you the Indianapolis Colts are one trade away from fixing their biggest defensive hole with a future Hall of Famer? After losing key starters in free agency, Chris Ballard is under immense pressure to deliver a championship-caliber secondary before the draft kicks off. Internal sources are pointing toward a massive move that could bring an 8-time Pro Bowler to the 317, potentially reshaping the entire AFC South landscape. The stakes have never been higher for this front office as they weigh a deal that costs a day 2 pick. Is Indy finally ready to go all in? Budda Baker is the name currently setting the rumor mill on fire inside the Indianapolis Colts facility. Following the departure of Nick Cross to the Washington Commanders, a glaring void has opened up at the safety position that neither Jonathan Owens nor Wanye Thomas can realistically fill at an elite level. Prominent analysts are now urging the Colts to ship their 78th overall pick and a future 6th rounder to the Arizona Cardinals in exchange for the legendary safety. Baker is 30 years old and carries a $33 million price tag over the next 2 seasons, but his pedigree is unmatched in the league today. He has recorded over 1,000 tackles and earned 8 Pro Bowl nods, making him the ultimate veteran anchor for a defense that desperately needs a leader on the back end. The idea is to pair him with Cam Bynum to create a secondary that would finally allow the pass rush to thrive under Gus Bradley's scheme. While the Cardinals are in a full-scale rebuild and looking to shed salary, the Colts are positioned as buyers who believe they can contend if Daniel Jones remains healthy and the defense holds firm. However, this trade isn't just about moving draft capital. It is about managing a complex salary cap situation that Ballard has historically guarded with extreme caution. Adding a player of this magnitude would signal a complete shift in the organizational philosophy of the Colts, moving from conservative building to aggressive pursuit. The question now is whether the front office believes Baker is the missing piece to a deep playoff run or just an expensive veteran in decline. With the draft rapidly approaching, the clock is ticking on a decision that will define the 2024 season. But before we dive into the internal cap numbers and the secret connections Baker has to the current roster, there is something vital you need to consider about how this impacts the rest of the draft strategy. The ripple effect of this trade would be massive, and it starts with a player Baker already knows very well. This is exactly why you need to stay updated with every single move coming out of the Colts headquarters. If Ballard pulls the trigger on this trade, we are going to break down the impact immediately. Go ahead and drop a comment below telling me if you would trade a 3rd-round pick for Baker. Make sure you are following closely. Nick Cross left a massive hole in this defense when he signed with the Commanders, and his departure is still being felt throughout the scouting department. The secondary has been the Achilles heel for Indianapolis, and the internal fear is that entering the season with a project at safety could derail the entire defense. This is where the Baker connection becomes even more intriguing because he would be reuniting with his former teammate Akeem Davis-Gaither. Both players faced challenges in Arizona's underwhelming defensive system last year, which finished near the bottom of the league in points allowed. Critics point to Baker's 24 missed tackles last season as a sign of regression, but those inside the building believe his drop in production was a direct result of the lack of talent surrounding him in Jonathan Gannon's final year. In Indianapolis, Baker would play behind a front 7 that includes established playmakers, allowing him to focus on his strengths as a downhill thumper and coverage specialist. The Colts currently have over $26 million in cap space according to Over the Cap, but that money is earmarked for in-house free agents and the incoming rookie class. Acquiring Baker means taking on the remaining 2 years of his $54 million deal, a financial commitment that Chris Ballard rarely makes for players over 30. Yet, the pressure to win now has reached a boiling point. The front office knows that a middle-of-the-pack defense won't cut it in an AFC loaded with elite quarterback talent. They need a playmaker who can disguise coverages and provide the veteran leadership that left with the veteran departures this spring. Baker's presence would not only solve the safety crisis, but also provide a mentor for the younger cornerbacks like Sauce Gardner, creating a championship-level hierarchy. The internal debate is whether to trust the draft to find the next Nick Cross or to trade for the proven commodity that is Budda Baker. The logistics are complicated, the money is high, and the risk of a 30-year-old safety slowing down is real. But the reward? The reward is a defense that finally matches the intensity of the Colts' historic expectations. This trade would be an all-in declaration from a general manager known for his patience, and the consequences will be felt for years to come. Analyzing the technical impact of this potential move reveals a massive shift in how Gus Bradley would coordinate this defense. The Colts' current roster construction suggests a team that is talented, but perhaps too young in critical areas. The Colts suggests a team that is talented, but perhaps too young in critical areas. By bringing in a veteran like Baker, the Colts would be providing a safety net for their aggressive defensive line, knowing they have a tackling machine on the back end who can clean up any mistakes. From a front office perspective, Chris Ballard is at a crossroads. He has built this team through the draft with precision, but the loss of talents like Kwity Paye and Michael Pittman Jr. in various scenarios has left the roster vulnerable. The future of the franchise depends on whether they can maximize the window while their quarterback is on a manageable deal. If they trade the 78th pick, they are essentially saying that Budda Baker is more valuable than any prospect they could find in the third round. This is a massive gamble in a draft where the Colts also need to address wide receiver, linebacker, and defensive end. If they prioritize safety, they might be leaving other units thin. However, a safety of Baker's caliber changes the geometry of the field. He allows the linebackers to play more freely and gives the defensive coordinator the flexibility to run more exotic blitz packages. Looking ahead, the cap implications are the biggest hurdle. The Colts have to balance their desire for a superstar with the necessity of paying their own homegrown talent. If this trade happens, it likely means another veteran will have to walk next year to balance the books. The impact on the locker room would be immediate. Players want to see the organization making moves that signal a desire to win a Super Bowl right now. It would silence the critics who claim Ballard is too conservative with his assets. The future of the Colts' defense could transition from a liability to a top 10 unit overnight with one phone call to Arizona. This isn't just about the 2024 season. It's about establishing a culture of excellence and showing the league that Indianapolis is no longer content with just being competitive. The next few weeks leading up to the draft in Pittsburgh will be the most critical period for this franchise in recent memory. Every scout and executive in the building knows that the secondary is the final hurdle to becoming a true AFC powerhouse. Ultimately, the pursuit of Budda Baker represents more than just a personnel upgrade. It is a symbol of the Indianapolis Colts' ambition. For years, the fans have waited for that one aggressive move that proves the front office is ready to fight for a title. Trading for an 8-time Pro Bowler would be that statement. It would tell the rest of the NFL that the Colts are tired of being the team that is always one piece away. The arrival of a player with Baker's resume would transform the identity of the defense from a group of promising individuals into a unit led by a battle-tested warrior. It would provide the fan base with the hope that the dark days of defensive lapses are finally over. This move could be the difference between a winning record and a deep run into January. We are looking at a potential Hall of Fame career continuing in the blue and white, and that is something every Colts fan should be energized about. This is the moment where the philosophy of the building meets the reality of the league's demands. You cannot win in today's NFL without elite play in the secondary, and Baker is the personification of elite. As we approach the draft, the tension in the Indianapolis front office is palpable. Every decision made now will echo through the halls of Lucas Oil Stadium for the next decade. Do you believe Baker is worth the 78th pick and the $33 million? Or should Ballard stay the course and trust his scouting department to find a diamond in the rough? This is the debate that will define our offseason. If you want to stay on the pulse of every internal update and breaking news story regarding the Indianapolis Colts, you need to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell right now. We are your primary source for everything happening inside the building. Smash the like button if you think Ballard needs to make this trade happen today. The landscape of the AFC South is shifting, and we will be here to cover every second of it. This is about the future of our team and the pursuit of another Lombardi trophy. Stay locked in, because this story is just getting started, and the next update could change everything for the Indianapolis Colts.